Music on the Amiga. You can tell it's something special when it's still admired to this day. With all the advancements in sampling, bit depth, voices and effects of today, still there's something special about the restraints of Amiga music. And the question you may now have is, what's the best way to listen to my Amiga music? So we're within WinUAE on my Workbench 3.2.2 setup, and we've got a couple of music players here to choose from. Now, to test these all out, I've grabbed some example files. We've got an MP3 file just to try that out. That's from the YouTube audio library. We've got an XM file. We've got a couple of mod files. Got some Octamed files as well, just to try those out as well, and then an impact tracker file, which is like a mod file, but really it was more advanced, more audio tracks and everything, and was primarily used on the PC rather than the Amiga. So we've got a selection of our music, and we've got our players along here. So these are the ones that I've chosen. Now, if you're looking at this list and thinking, oh, where's X player that I really love? I don't know all the players, maybe I've missed one of them off, but I think I've picked out some of the most popular ones, and we're just going to go through each of them, see what the benefits are of each one. Each do things slightly in a different way, and it depends on actually what type of files that you primarily play. The first one we're going to go with is Hippo Player. So Hippo Player is still developed to this day. So as you can see, the latest version is 2.56, which was released in February of this year, 2023. And Hippo Player has been around for a long time, and it's been a player that I've used for quite some time. It's nice and easy to use. It's got a playlist down here. You've got all the controls down here, and the layout is pretty easy. Then, we go to the add, and then we choose some files. Let's just start off with something nice and easy, like a mod track. Space Debris. Play that. Nice and easy. So there we go. You can fast forward, and that goes through each of the patterns, and you can see the patterns at the top. And I'll pause that for the moment. And yeah, basically you've got your playlist here. You can click on this icon and change it to favorites if you want, or browse through the path of folders that you've got and back to the playlists again. So you can build up your playlist here, make them and save them and everything. So you can right click on Hippo Player, and it goes to a thin bar like this. So it's very convenient for if you're doing something else on the Amiga, doing some word processing or doing whatever other stuff you want to do on the Amiga, and you just want some music in the background. This tucks away nice and neatly, so you can then carry on listening to your music. This is compatible with AHI, and yeah, I'm going to be doing a video in more depth on how to set up AHI. And if you don't know what it is, basically it enhances the audio capabilities of the Amiga, and this is the thing that basically ties in with WinUAE to allow 16-bit hi-fi stereo and allow you to play MP3s as well. I must say that this Amiga is running a CPU JIT compiler as fast as possible, so that's what's going to allow us to run MP3s nice and smoothly today. So that's mod music. So let's try out the other formats. Let's go to Octamed stuff. This all should work. Yeah, there we go. Octamed works fine. So let's go with now a IT file. Let's see if that works. Unknown file format. Okay, so that's one of the limitations. It doesn't understand that format. Maybe we can add that, but out of the box, latest version, it doesn't come with that support. So let's do XM. XM should work out of the box, because that's fast tracker. Yeah, that works absolutely fine. That's good. We'll reject that. And then last but not least, let's try an MP3 file. Yep, works absolutely fine. Now, if you're going to be running MP3s on your Amiga, there's one key thing that you need to know about, and all of these kind of players share this kind of setting, and I will demonstrate it to you to sort of like, so you know what it sounds like basically. So let's load up that same MP3 that you just heard, and we'll listen to it for a while. You notice that there's some distortion there, okay? And you can play around with all the settings with refresh rate and things like that, but it's all down to this MPEG quality. Now, by default, I think pretty much all the players set it to low because they expect a weak CPU, to be honest. But because in WinUAE, we can have a nice fast Amiga, you just basically change that up to high quality MPEG, and then you get the nice quality, much better MP3. So there we go. So that's Hippo Player. I quite like Hippo Player. It's a nice player all round. Works quite well. So let's go on to the next one, Eagle Player. Again, this one is still updated to this day, and as well, this has been around for a very long time. So let's go through all of the different formats. It runs mods basically. Yep, that all works absolutely fine. Let's try a Optimed file. Optimed files are fine. One thing I've noticed with this, when you fast forward, it doesn't skip through the patterns like Hippo Player, but it just speeds up the play as though it's a cassette player. Okay, so let's then try other formats like IT file, unknown format sadly. Okay, XM, so let's our fast tracker file. Yep, it knows that. And then what about our MP3? Yep, plays absolutely fine. And then we can pause that. We can change the balance. Obviously, change the volume up here as well. And it's a pretty sleek player. You can kind of tuck it up into the corner there. You can reduce it down to an icon on here. That's what that icon in the middle does. You can also shrink it down to even smaller player by clicking on that icon. Yeah, so you can tuck that right up in the corner there if you so wish. And then this button is for mod music. It just applies the Amiga filter on and off. So that is Eagle Player. One of the things I've noticed with this is there's not really a playlist. You can select multiple files, so I can hold down Shift and then click OK, and then I can skip in between tracks, so that all works. But I haven't seen a button at all anywhere where you get to a playlist and you can manage playlists. If you can, let me know in the comments, because yeah, it wasn't obvious. Right, next is Delhi Tracker. Now Delhi Tracker is fairly old. I don't think this is being supported anymore because there's now a PC version called Delhi Player that was produced by the same developer. But Delhi Tracker is pretty good. If we go through all the different types again, so let's go through our mod. Yeah, absolutely fine. Doesn't open our Optimed out by default. Doesn't open the Optimed out by default. What about the Fast Tracker? Fast Tracker doesn't identify it, so a little bit limiting. This is an older program, to be fair. Is it going to do the Impulse Tracker? No, didn't expect that either. How about MP3? MP3, no it doesn't. So Delhi Tracker, pretty good for your mods, nice and simple. You've got the panning and you've got your volume, similar to how Eagle Player looked previously. As well, you've got a nice playlist then that you can manage and save playlists, which is a nice feature. So there we go. If you just use mods only, then Deli Tracker is a pretty good player to use. As well, when you close it, it goes to an icon as well. That's a really cool feature as well. So actually to close it, you right click and then go quit, and then it actually disappears. So next, Song Player. Okay, so Song Player, this is one that I haven't personally used, but I've noticed that it's got quite a following. Quite a lot of people like this. Now, this isn't a mod player at all. So if I go and open up any of the mod music, so mods, if I try and open it, it just doesn't recognize it at all. That being said, I think it is primarily for CD music. So if you had CDs back in the day, but also it runs MP3s absolutely fine. So as you see, that sounded nice and clear. And the reason why it's nice and clear is you go into settings, then options, under MPEG. Yeah, you go to layer 3. So you watch out, don't choose layer 1 or layer 2, layer 3. And then make sure that that is set to high. By default, it's set to low, and the low frequency of like, I think sort of like 12,000 kilohertz, which is, yeah, too low. You can crank that all the way up to the top and high, and then you get a nice clear sounding MP3 out of this player. So you've got your playlists here that you can manage and sort, and you've got your basic controls here and panning and volume, and you can skip through a track. There we go. Yeah, nice and responsive, pretty good. You also got some fancy sort of like skipping and sort of like some looping as well there. Yeah, it's pretty good. So that's Song Player. So if you're primarily using MP3s, that's a good player to use as well. But not good for mod music. You can't use mod music on this. So finally, the last one I'm going to look at is Amiga Amp. So Amiga Amp is pretty much like Winamp, if you ever used that back in the day on your PC, back in the Windows 95, 98 era. Winamp was really popular for MP3s, and it's a nice interface. So it's nice to see that there's an Amiga port of it, and this Amiga port's been going for quite some time. Now you'll benefit from having this on a Picasso screen resolution, so that you'll get a nice clear sharp text and everything. At the moment I've just got this on the interlace, so that's why you're seeing it all a little bit blurred at the moment. But what can we do on this? So we can do all the mod music. So in order to get mod music working on this, you need to download the mod plug and just put that into your libs folder. Actually, I'll show you where that is. Under libs, it'll be in here somewhere, probably right at the end. Yeah, modplug.library. It's on Amunet. Just download it, plug it into your libraries, and then suddenly you'll be able to run mod music within Amiga Amp. You can play that. What I've noticed with Amiga Amp though is it's really quiet, and I don't know why. I've had a good play around with the settings, because this is using AHI. So we go preferences, and yeah, so we're using AHI Unit 3. I've got that all set up on, and yeah, it just seems to be pretty quiet. Now, with regards MP3s, this is the area where you go to Preferences, Decoder, MP3. Make sure you've got it set to high, and divide frequency I've just set to none. And then you get nice quality MP3s, which I'll prove by just quickly loading up that MP3 again and hitting play. There we go. Works nice. But as you can tell, it's quieter than all the other players for some reason. That's the only downer that I've found. So what other formats does this play? Let's test the other formats. So mod music, we know. Optimed music, does it play that? Yes, it does, but quiet again. What about our fast tracker stuff? Does that all work? Yep, that all works fine. And what about our impulse tracker file? Does that work? There we go. Yes, impulse tracker works. So this is actually, out of all the players that we're doing today, this is the only one that plays all the formats that I've got. Now, the only disadvantage with this is that the sound is really low for some reason. So yeah, if you know why that's causing it, let us know down in the comments. But Amiga Amp is a pretty awesome music player for basically everything. So if you know that you're going to be doing MP3s, impulse tracker, you're going to be doing mods, you know, any type of format that you want to throw at this, Amiga Amp will probably be able to play it. That is the selection of music players that I recommend, that if you want to do some stuff on your Amiga and you want to listen to some music in the background, because obviously Amiga is an awesome operating system that was multitask. You could do multiple things on the Amiga at the same time, so why not listen to some music while you work on the Amiga? So I hope you found this video useful. Let us know down in the comments what music player you used to use back in the day, or even what you're using today. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will catch you in another one. See you later, folks.